Okay, I want you to picture something. It's March 2026 and you're in Dubai. But instead of that constant hum of supercars and the buzz of a city that never sleeps, there's just silence. It's almost unimaginable, right? The city that just last year was a magnet for more wealth than anywhere else on the planet is now, well, a ghost town. So let's unpack how a scenario like this could even happen.
This quote right here, it really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. We're diving into a hypothetical future, one based on some really sharp analysis. And it makes us ask this massive question. Is a regional conflict just a temporary setback, or could it be the end of an entire era for the Gulf as we've come to know it?
So you've got this social media video making the rounds. It shows the inside of one of these super luxe hotel lobbies, totally empty. No bellhops, no tourists, nothing. The only sound you can hear is the faint wail of an air raid siren off in the distance. It is such a chilling image, and it completely flips the script on everything we think of when we think of Dubai. So yeah, that's our starting point. A city that is world famous for its ambition, for its luxury. Suddenly, it's just hollowed out. A five-star ghost town. This is the big puzzle, isn't it? How does a place that's practically built on the idea of being the future just stop? Well, the answer isn't one single thing. It's a truly catastrophic chain reaction. It all kicks off with a massive military strike on Iran. But it's Iran's response that changes the game entirely. See, instead of hitting back directly, they make a calculated decision to, as they say, externalize the pain. And they turn their weapons on the booming economic centers of their Gulf neighbors. And that move, well, it targets Dubai's single biggest vulnerability. Because the real damage here isn't to the incredible skyline, no. It's to the one thing Dubai was selling more than anything else. You know, it's fascinating when you break it down like this. The whole economic miracle wasn't really built on oil, not really on real estate. At its core, it was built on selling this idea, this perception of the Gulf as a perfect bubble, a safe little zone completely walled off from the chaos of the wider Middle East. And this is how that bubble bursts. 1,700 missiles and drones. Just think about that. And they're not aimed at military bases out in the desert. They're aimed at the world's busiest international airport, at the financial districts, at those five-star hotels. That promise of safety, it wasn't just broken, it was absolutely shattered. You see, Dubai's entire system, its whole operating model, is built on foreign confidence and foreign workers. And as one analyst put it so bluntly, when that confidence just vanishes, the whole system doesn't just slow down, it faces a literal shutdown. And that is precisely what starts to unfold. You get this massive exodus. And it's not just people leaving, it's the capital, the money that fueled the city's incredible growth, heading for the exits too. But you have to understand, this crisis plays out very, very differently for different people. For the super wealthy, the global elite, it's a logistics problem. You charter a jet, you call your wealth manager, you move your money. But for the huge migrant workforce, the people who actually built and run the city day to day, there is no escape plan. They're just trapped. And the big financial institutions, they don't hesitate. The world's biggest banks tell their staff to go home, their gleaming offices now sitting empty. You start hearing these stories of huge personal wealth transfers, with places like Singapore and Hong Kong getting ready for a massive inflow of capital. This isn't a trickle, it's a flood. This chart right here really just lays it all bare. It shows you just how incredibly vulnerable the whole economy is. I mean, look at this. A jaw-dropping 88% of Dubai's economy is directly tied to the very things this crisis destroys. Expats, tourism, aviation, finance. It is a house of cards, and it's built on a foundation of global stability that's just been dynamited. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit, because this isn't just an economic story. What we're seeing is a massive geopolitical shift. It's rewriting the strategic map of the entire region right before our eyes. So why would Iran do this? Why target the UAE, a country that had actually tried to keep things pretty neutral? Well, it was a brutal but strategic gamble. The thinking was, if they could inflict enough economic pain on America's allies, those allies would turn around and put immense pressure on Washington to back off. But here's the massive paradox in all of this. The long-term result might be the exact opposite of what Iran wanted. Instead of pushing the US away, this kind of aggression is reportedly pushing the Gulf states and Israel even closer together, creating a much stronger, more unified front against Tehran. You know, this whole crisis rips open a much deeper question about what security even is anymore. The old model was simple, right? Host some American bases, buy American weapons, and you're good. But what happens when that's not enough to stop swarms of cheap but incredibly effective drones? It forces everyone to completely rethink what security looks like in the 21st century. And that brings us to the final, powerful conclusion. The fundamental shift that can't be put back in the box, even long after the fighting stops. For decades, the Gulf really operated as if it existed on a different planet from the rest of the Middle East. The belief was that money and geography could build an impenetrable shield. Well, this conflict proved that shield was just an illusion, and it's been shattered. So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? The towers will still be standing. Business will eventually come back in some form. But the core idea, the fundamental promise of the place, has changed forever. The Gulf isn't over, not by a long shot, but its time as a special, consequence-free playground for global money, that chapter now seems to be well and truly closed.